Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden, and it is September 26th, YC126. This is the Eve Universe Show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I do have my puppy in my lap. I don't know. Oh, no, my camera. Ah, hey, guys. How's it going? Uh-oh. Here's your Zoya. I know. Everybody's just in time. Excellent. We got things to cover. I do actually, before we get too far in, there has been some complaints that we've been getting a lot of puppy time. Actually, I'm going to wait. When the puppy decides to get off my lap, I'll go get the kitty. Wait, never mind. The kitty knows what's up. She vanished. Oh, no, she's right down there. Hey, kitty. She's looking at me like, uh-oh. No, they found me. First time checking me out live. Excellent. Well, good thing this is a very happy episode. All right. So, all right. We did get some news yesterday. We a fairly significant change to the skyhooks occurred, which we were kind of expecting, but definitely weren't expecting to the extent that we got. And we also got some more information about the Crimson Harvest and whatnot today. So we're going to be jumping into that here in just a second, letting everybody settle in, say hi. Thank you to Bash for your gifted subs at the very beginning. I want to give the cat an opportunity to actually drink some water. It's funny because, like, the puppy has probably been the best thing to happen to the cat's health because, like, the cat ate, you know, she eats a lot. So she was getting to be overweight. That's why she was having bathroom issues. But now the puppy kind of screens her off a lot. So. All right. Well, you can see in the background here, the structure is still going on. People are saying that it is flickering more. I think that that's pretty accurate. We don't know when it will be fully visible. I do have, like, this is with the settings all the way turned down, as we learned yesterday. That really helps, but let's go ahead and turn up the shaders. See if it looks... Oh! Oh, that sucks so bad. Oh, that sucks so bad. Oh, and the doggo's on the move. My game just crashed while I was... oh, no! My pacifier! And the puppy's off. The puppy's going to scare the cat away. The pacifier's going to die. What a way to start a show. Come on. It's still, I'm still in the pacifier. I'm still in it. We're still in it. I probably should keep moving now. Wait. It says I'm cloaked, but I can still see my ship clearly. Oh God, what's happening? Why are you doing this? I want to see whether or not it's flickering the same. Oh yeah, that's a lot harder to see still. All right. Well, cool. Let's go ahead and dock up. What happens if I decloak? Oh, it does the decloaking animation. Excellent. All right. Perfect. Look, man, bugs exist, okay? It doesn't matter if it's a 20-year-old game or a 5-year-old game or whatever. It's very possible I just turned on my cloak like before the rendering engine was fully online. Whatever. It's fine. That's the kind of show we're going to have today, I think. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the news. Wait. Oh, nope. Hold on. Let's go ahead and jump into... I know. But they want to see you. You have fans, kitty. You have fans. Say hi. That's what we get. There we go. There's the cat. Cat's still here. Oh, cat goes off. Puppy's running. Chaos ensues. Welcome to my house. All right, so let's go ahead and turn on. Shoot, where's the news? Boo, boo, boo. Yeah. All right, we're going to get to this in a minute. Before we jump into the big news, let's go ahead and talk about like what's coming. Puppy. Yeah, my wait, bugs? Oh yeah. Got it. Computer bugs, right. All right, so Crimson Harvest looms. So from the 3rd of October to the 5th of November, we're going to have the Crimson Harvest. So it starts in exactly 1 week and goes for nearly a month. Just under a month, 2 days shy of a month. So most of the time, these kinds of events used to last 2 weeks, but the Crimson Harvest is one of the few events that managed to survive the purge. And it is a month long. It is also one of the oldest events that we've ever had as far as like organized events go. So you can usually see it's the same as the last couple of years for the most part. So you can see older videos about the Crimson Harvest if you're interested. But Crimson Harvest returns from the 3rd of October to the 5th of November, unleashing a brutal conflict between the fanatical Order of St. Tetramon and the bloodthirsty Blood Raider Covenant. Capsuleers across New Eden must choose a side, battling twisted foes and seizing dark rewards in combat and hacking sites. From high-sec to wormhole systems, the war rages with the fiercest clashes in Derelict and Delve. Whether you seek solo combat or deadlier team encounters, greater challenges await to those brave enough to dive deeper into the mysteries of the void. So, a couple things. First of all, but do they have Skinner components dropping? We'll get to that. We'll see. But, so, the big thing about this is... Well, it's a month long, but the harder sites are in Derelict and Delve. So that makes it a little bit different because, you know, I've been saying that it's very possible that the Crimson Harvest is going to tie into the current plot with the previous 2 Crimson Harvests just so happen to be targeting Turner, Egmar, and Vard. But it appears that they managed to update this to make it so that the harder sites are actually in Blood Raider, Lowsec, and Nullsec, which is closer to the way it used to be with a lot of events. Yeah. So you pick your side, and this is true. In this one, you're going to have to pick either the Blood Raider Covenant or the Order of St. Tetramon. You get different skins depending on whichever one you take part in. Hold on. Look for horrific combat and hacking sites throughout high-sec, low-sec, null-sec, and wormhole systems, as well as Pochfin. Combat sites will appear as anomalies in the probe scanner. Hacking sites will appear as cosmic signatures that require scanning down using a probe launcher and scanner probes. Scavenge the remains of your wrecked rivals to improve loot drops. So, same as previous years. Why would the Blood Raiders be hanging out with the Amatar? They're against each other. It's Blood Raiders versus Order of St. Tetramon. So originally it was somebody else. But the idea is that the Blood Raider side drops clone blanks, and so they wanted a clone army to be the counterforce And oh no, it was, yeah. So it used to be the Silver Hand, which was, I think, Artichoper's military group. And then when the Order of St. Tetramon started to take over as being like a major player within the Amar, then it got changed over to being the Order of St. Tetramon is the main hostile or main force against the Blood Raiders. The Season of Slaughter brings budding skindustrialists a cornucopia of design elements to bring their most twisted creations to life, including the brutal splatter pattern, steel violet, ritual gourd satin, savant carmine satin, anointed dead pattern, and much more. Log in every day, complete brutal challenges, and loot the wrecks of your victims to uncover each component. So chances are some of these like ritual, well, I don't know about ritual gore. I don't know. Some of these are probably Blood Raider versus not. The brutal splatter pattern, that's what it appears to be this. And that seems really cool. I like that idea. I want that pattern. Something brings me clones blanks. Deathless. Yeah. Totally. Make sure you keep an eye on CCTV for terrifying Twitch drops, giving you the chance to snatch up some free goodies each week. In addition to these tricky treats, some of the streamers will offer insight into the Crimson Harvest challenges. Every day, the Crimson Harvest offers bloody rewards, including blood-curdling design elements for Skinner, brutal ships, bountiful skill points, and much more. Here we go. We've got, wait, Estero Death Glow Remnant skin. Wait. What? That's weird. Oh, I have the Deathglow Hunter. Yeah, okay. Deathglow Hunter. Versus Deathglow Remnant. Okay, yeah. That makes sense. Avalanche Deathglow Remnant skin. That's pretty cool. Harvest Anti-Disruptor boosters. Yeah, there's going to be a set of boosters. One is for Blood Raiders. One is for Tetramon. So, like, the Blood Raider ones are positive to webs and nosses and armor. Tetramon is usually, what, damage? Some other stuff. 26,000 Evermarks, 650,000 skill points, and Crimson Harvest Fireworks Crate. That's about it. Oh, wait, did they not say it here? Where is it? I don't know why they don't have it here, but also just be advised, that means for the month of October, there's going to be a 90% loot drop from PvP or from any sort of player loss. So, you know, gankers are going to be much more active during this time, etc. Hi, you want up? You want up? You want to say hi again? Okay. Next, we are doing a 20% off of I don't know why I always say we. They are having a 20% on career packs. They're kind of cool, especially if you're interested. I think that of them all, the one that is the most interesting is the industrialist career path, because I know a lot of newer players that want to get into mining and such, but when they're alpha, it's a consideration. Other than that, I mean, whatever. 50% off hyper cores. Cool. That's it for like the side news. That's it for the ways I can distract you guys before we have to jump into the main topic. Actually, I've got one more way to distract you before the main topic. I wanted to show you guys something. This is not EVE related. And it's not exactly an advertisement, just full disclosure. So I'm a streamer. I'm one of those influencers. So people like send me stuff to like want to do deals or whatever. So I got this offer for these gloves and I wanted to check them out and I wanted to show you guys about them. So They didn't give me any money to say anything. I can say whatever the heck I want. In fact, I got very little knowledge about what I should say or not say. So I just wanted to show you guys these things. There's links down below. It's Achiou, Achiou, and like they're very basic gloves. They've got some cool patterns for grip, and they're actually pretty cheap. They're like this one's like $7. I've got these thicker ones for my son. But the cool thing about these, the thing I really like about these is how useful they are with touchscreen, right? Like I can go like this and I can, oh, you can't even see it. Awesome. Hold on. I unlocked my phone and you can see like I can scroll, I can do whatever I need to do with my gloves on during the winter. It's pretty cool. But the one that really blew my mind was they also sent me one for my son. So there's these small ones. Now, luckily, I've got really tiny hands. So I can fit in them. But this is what amazed me. So they've got this thick... What? Oh, come on. They've got this thicker glove. Like, I've seen these, where it's like you can see there's a little tip thing there that lets it pass through or whatever. But what amazed me is, like, this one works with these, like, thick finger. I can't even... I don't know. Somebody's got to explain to me how this works. But, you know, you can still work it with the touchscreen and everything like that. So if you are looking for some gloves for the winter, you can check it out down below. There is a link. I do appreciate them sending it to me. I have a couple other things that I might show you guys soon. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a sucker for a good pair of gloves, especially now that the winter is coming. So yeah. All right, that's it for that. Hi, puppy. You want gloves? You want gloves? No? Okay. All right, I'm out of things to distract us with. Let's talk about skyhooks. Oh yeah, by the way, those gloves, before I keep going, actually, I do want to show off a little bit more. Again, they didn't... I'm just saying this because I think it's cool. But, so they've got the different colors too. And they've got like mitt gloves and normal gloves for the kids. And then there's the other link down below. Shoot, I don't have it. But either way. Okay. How do skyhooks work? Well, they don't. So, let's begin at the beginning. Prior to Equinox, Nullsec had not gotten a major update for quite some time. And in particular with scarcity, Nullsec had been kind of hit over and over and over again with both things that make their space more dangerous, like the introduction of filaments and like blackout when it occurred, as well as reduction in their productivity, everything from making capitals and super capitals significantly more expensive to the removal of most minerals from, or, you know, removal from partitioning of minerals to particular bands of space. So Nullsec wouldn't have all of the minerals at their disposal. And, you know, just a general reduction in how much ore and minerals and bounties and stuff was out there in the game. Oh yeah, also things like the dynamic bounty system, which theoretically made it so that they were getting paid out less. The mandatory use of ESS so people can rob them, etc., etc. Now, some of these, like the ESS one, ended up being like they end up getting more money, or dynamic bounty system. At this point, now they make more money than they did before. But you know, for a long time, it was less, and they can actually grind it. You know, the more you grind in a system, the worse it gets, etc., etc. So I had to deal with all this stuff. So then they were going to like make this promise of like, okay, we're going to revolutionize Nullsec now. And rather than just redo sovereignty, they're going to add new things to Nullsec to make living in Nullsec interesting. And the cornerstone of this is skyhooks and the new infrastructure hub. So, or sovereignty hub, I should say. So the sovereignty hub has been a pretty contentious thing in the fact that, you know, systems have a hard lock on how much power they're allowed to have. The some upgrades were not as good. You know, upgrades have had to be buffed multiple times. You know, the sovereignty hub has had its own problems. And a lot of those have now been addressed. But the skyhooks were the other key component of all this, okay? So the sovereignty hub is what controls what kind of upgrades you have in the system, what's going on in the system. The skyhooks function as a new kind of resource extraction, okay? So skyhooks can be put on a planet to replace the planetary customs office. If the skyhook is placed on a gas or a plasma planet, it helps provide power, which is really, really important because, like I said, the power output in a system is limited. So, and hard capped. So you want to be able to extract as much power as you can for that system to have as many upgrades as possible. You go for a temperate or an oceanic planet, you get personnel, which are necessary for the maintenance and upkeep of your stuff. You have to transfer personnel from populated systems to less populated systems if you need to, in order to keep things going. Population is this ongoing resource that's required. Then there is lava and ice planets. Lava planets provide magmatic gas, and ice planets provide super ionic ice. Now, these two new products are useful for three things. One, the Sinojammer and Beacon modules do require these materials in order to online their systems. I do not believe that they require them to maintain them anymore, but to online them does require a chunk of this stuff. The main use of them, of magmatic gas, I think it is used in Metanox moon drills. Metanox moon drills require not just normal fuel, but requires this new reagent. The upside of it is that you don't actually have to mine the moon. You just put a Metanox moon drill on top of the moon, and then it extracts the moon goo straight out of it, and you can just loot it straight out of the the Metanox as moon goo. There's no refining, there's no nothing, there's no minerals, it's just the moon goo. So, oh, and the supercap production upgrade requires some of it. That's true. Thank you. So, okay. The thing is that the other thing that's useful for this superionic ice and magmatic gas, the big thing about it also is that these are commodities, okay? These are commodities. So if you go to NPC space, or like if you go to Empire space, you can sell superionic ice and magmatic gas directly to NPCs. So this means that even if no one ever needed to have it for what it was, even if there was too much of it, right, it would never lower in value below the NPC value significantly, because you might as well just sell it to the NPCs, right? So the idea is that these function as a new income source, strategic income source for empires. They're only deployable in Nullsec. The catch to them are they can be robbed, okay? They generate minerals over time, or they generate their reagents over time, but people can come and they can hit it, and if they lock into it, they have to do a little bit of damage to it, lock into it, and sit there for 9 minutes. And it warns the people 1 jump away really quickly, and then like a couple minutes later, it warns people 2 jumps away, and then like at 7 minutes, it warns people 3 jumps away, right? So it's designed to like, hey, come get me, right? And it's worth noting that this is actually some pretty decent money. Wait, you can sell it to NPCs? I didn't know that. I'm 90% sure. Am I wrong? I don't think I'm wrong. Hold on. Just double checking. Yeah. I was already. I'm a big fan of validating your assumptions, you know? But you can see. Yeah. No? Wait, hold on. Yeah, here we go. 347-day buy order. This has to be an MPC buy order. So it's got a bottom value of 307 ISK, which is admittedly pretty low, right? Like the counterpoint to this is that it's currently selling at 11,000 to 10,000, 9,000 to 11,000. So yeah, all Upwell members have MPC buy orders. So it's not like you're intentionally going to be selling it to sell orders. My point is that it doesn't matter how much excess there is. It will always have a value. It is at the very least like a kind of ISK faucet, because this is just ISK coming into the system. But it probably is not being used as an ISK faucet much right now. There may be people that are selling it like off in secondary markets or whatever. But yeah, let's be real. This is a pretty low floor, okay? Now then, so the thing is that it takes some time for the materials to mature, and then people have to come and get it. In the meantime, you can hit it, and you can rob it, and you can steal a bunch of stuff, right? This is cool. There were some problems with this, okay? First of all, it made it so that, hold on. It can be used as an ISK faucet, a material faucet, Metanox, or to enable upgrades. Right, exactly. Thank you. Okay, so the Metanox, okay, my bad. The robbing system was flawed because from the perspective of the people being robbed, there were a lot of skyhooks. It was a lot of pings. It's a lot of work to defend, okay? From the attacker's point of view, the issue became that the apex strategy, the strategy that a lot of people seem to be going for, was if they see you robbing, if they get the notification that you're robbing a skyhook, they're just going to go to the rest of their skyhooks and take their stuff out. So even if you manage to rob the one, by the time you're done robbing the one, a lot of the other skyhooks in the area have already been cleared out. And this has been a big frustration for people. There were some other things that were supposed to make skyhooks more balanced originally. Originally, skyhooks were supposed to actually create a Sino jammer around them to ensure that capitals don't get just brought in for escalations. That got actually removed before it even went live. So we've seen a lot of input from the CSM in how this has played out. But overall, few people were actually happy about the skyhook system. But you still saw a bunch of skyhooks go down because why wouldn't you? Especially on ice and lava planets, skyhooks take nothing to maintain. They have no maintenance costs whatsoever. There's no power output costs. There's no costs other than the cost to build the skyhook itself. And all it is free money that comes in, right? Sure, some of it might get robbed, but it's free money. So, of course, people started putting these things down. That leads us to the patch earlier this week when they said that they're going to make some changes to making skyhooks to skyhook rating, and people were nervous about a nerf. And I was cautious about it, but I told people to hold off until we have some details. Well, now we have the details. The Upwell Consortium has closely monitored the performance of its revolutionary Equinox suite, and following extensive feedback from power users, significant enhancements are set to be rolled out in Orbital Skyhook security update coming in early October. A certain vulnerability to raiding will be addressed, taking some of the advantage away from attackers seeking to raid skyhooks. These changes will bolster the attractiveness of structures by improving their output while also reducing the logistical burdens placed on their owners. So that's point number one. This has not happened yet. The the Halloween event starts on the 3rd. Therefore, I expect that this patch is going to come out on the 1st. So what does that mean? Technically speaking, we've still got time to give them feedback, okay? And boy, howdy, has there been feedback. Reddit has been fairly upset about the situation. We'll talk about that when we get to it. To address the imbalance in raid dynamics, orbital skyhooks will now only be vulnerable to raids during specific windows that are visible to all pilots. These periods are based on the structure owner's preference, but feature a significant randomized offset, introducing an element of unpredictability. As a result, defenders will have a better opportunity to plan their defense, while raiders must operate within tighter, more strategic timeframes. This shift will reduce the constant pressure on skyhook owners, who will no longer need to be on high alert around the clock while still preserving the opportunities for intense tactical combat. Okay. This is crazy thing one. Actually, hold on. Let me pull up. I forgot to pull up. Hold on. So CSP Swift clarified, seeing some questions about the vulnerability windows and if this just means that people will continue to self-raid the second vulnerability, the vulnerability window is out. There'll be more detailed information on the patch notes, but the TLDR is below. Let's say if your skyhook set to reinforcement at X o'clock UTC, the system uses a normal distribution with a standard deviation of 3 hours. So in 68% of cases, the vulnerability will start within plus or 3 hours of the window. In 95% of cases, the X is 3 to 6, will be within 6 hours of the window. It is a further than 4 standard deviations. We throw it out and try again. When the timer is set, it's displayed in space. The rating window itself is always 1 hour long and gives 3 days notice. So in practice, I have my skyhook set to come out of reinforcement at 2000. I get pretty lucky and the vulnerable timer is at 1730. For approximately 3 days, my skyhook will show the rating window will be from 1730 to 1830. Rating window is always 1 hour. My other skyhook in the same system wasn't so lucky and it comes out at 1:30. After the rating window closes, it'll roll the dice again and grab a new set of timers about 3 days away. Happy to answer any questions on behalf of the designers that I may have missed. So, okay. This suggests that it's going to be negative 200 dislikes. Wow. So a 1 hour window, and reading this again, the first time I read this, and every time I've read this prior to this, I read it as like a 1 hour window that is the same hour window for every 3 days. But that does not seem to be the case. Is this actually 1 hour every 72 hours? That's insane. Okay, even if it's just 1 hour a day, that's already not okay. 1 hour every 3 days is absolutely absurd. Absolutely absurd. The other thing that I find absolutely bizarre about this is that he even says, and if it just means the people will continue to self-raid the second the vulnerability window is out. Right. Okay, yes, I see that, Satonia. But the question is it once in the 3 days, or is it 3 times in the 3 days, once per day? So yeah, this is a very standard distribution curve. So effectively, for 68% of the time, it'll be within 1 standard deviation. 95% of the time, it'll be once every 3 days. Wow. Okay. So why is this bad? This is bad because, okay, in my opinion, these changes take into consideration everything that the defender is worried about and gives zero consideration for the attackers at all. Here's the problem. When you're going to go raid skyhooks, how are you going to get there? Excuse me. Excuse me. The vast majority of them, the points of conflict minigames are not a solution to stagnancy. I disagree with that, Wizard. Points of conflict is the only way to break up stagnation. But the problem is you either yeet into Nullsec using filaments, or you're like a wormholer and you roll a wormhole into a system. It's already like a consideration. You have to find a skyhook on a lava or ice planet that has material that's worth raiding ready to go. And now you get to do it in 1 hour out of every 72-hour window. So the chances of randomly entering into an area of Nullsec and finding something worth attacking has basically dropped to the point that, so I'm going to get together 5, 6, 7, 10 people to go raid something, right? Even 3 or 4 people. I want to go do some raids. I have to get everybody together. We have to get our ships together. We got to get ready to go. And we go out there. The chances of us getting nothing, the chances of the entire thing being a bust and stupid is so high now. Why would I go through the effort of building this up? In fact, anybody who's honestly trying to like find fleet activity to go out, the larger my fleet is, the more I, as a fleet commander, am obligated. I'm on the line to get these guys content, right? If I get together 12 people and we go out to Nullsec and everything's just busted, guess who's going to be like, look, like, I'm the one that's going to have to deal with this, not CCP. I'm the one that has to deal with 11 players bored off their ass because they spent their Friday with me in Nullsec doing nothing than anything else they could have done. Also, Ash, one thing that you may have missed: once it's successfully it's successfully rated, it closes and rerolls. But here's the thing: this doesn't deal with people self-rating. He even mentions it. Yeah, after the rating window closes. So when it's rated, so anything you rate is always guaranteed to be in 3 to 4 days. Yeah, but it's. So the raid window, it's always at the end of the 3 days anyways, right? So if the window's open, then it's within an hour of it re-rolling anyways, right? Like if it comes out at 17:30 and I rate it at 18:30, then it re-rolls it at 18:40. But if it's 17:30, if I rate it at 17, if it's 17:30 and I rate it at 17:40, then it comes out at 17:50. But if I don't rate it at all, then it comes out of its rating window at 18:30 and just re-rolls at 18:40. So it's like 50 minutes early. And it's between 3 to 4 days. Yeah, Jeff, there is evidence in Hobo Leaks that suggest in the strings they are adding information about vulnerabilities and stuff in the agency. So you'll be able to open up your agency to see what is vulnerable and not vulnerable. This does nothing that I can see. And again, please, oh my God, please, let me be wrong about all of this. Let me be wrong. Somebody in the comments below explain to me why I'm stupid and this is perfect and I've missed the point. Okay? Please. Please. I want to be okay with this so bad. But, so, again, he even comments about self-rating. So, okay. As an attacker, I have to go in and then hope that something is there. Or I can plan something out ahead of time. Remember, there's no wormhole in existence that lasts 3 days. So I'm going to have a normal vector of getting into their space that doesn't rely on wormholes or anything if I'm going to scout out a skyhook I want to get ahead of time. So I'm going to scout out a skyhook that I want to raid in like a day or whatever, and then hopefully find a way to get there on the day. Chances are that's bogus. From the defender, though, they get everything. They get everything. They know exactly when their stuff is coming up. Any of their members can pull it up. And what's stopping them from rating this at 1731? There's nothing in this example that explains why this is harder. This does anything to self-rating the second the vulnerability window is out. You can kill the self-raters. You have to be there, Sitonia. You have to be there. Why would there be attackers? So you yeet in and you just happen to be there right when the window's opening. Not 5 minutes before, not 5 minutes after the 1 hour is over. You have to be there at the time. You can see the skyhook vulnerability on the map, but how many of them will be vulnerable with it being every 72 hours? Like, this has done absolutely nothing to fix the self-rating thing, because they were already doing the self-rating. You come in and raid, they start looting everything else, so that way it's all empty, right? So they're already doing it when the hostiles were in the area. It's their home systems. They have everything at their disposal. You want to sit there and wait and kill the people who are coming to get their own thing? You have every disadvantage in that situation. Nobody's specifically diving into Nullsec for specific skyhooks. They're going to filament to see what's around, or just ESS. Exactly. No one, like, I don't know, man. I don't know what the goal here is. Because, like, okay. When Facebook was first being made, they limited it to only very particular colleges, right? So in order to get on Facebook, you had to be part of their college. I can't remember exactly which college. The reason why they did this was not because they wanted it to be exclusive or they needed to, like, battle test their servers or whatever. The reason why is because they evaluated the situation and they said, okay, well, what is the worst case scenario for the user experience for our product, Facebook? The worst experience you could possibly have in Facebook is to log into Facebook and see nothing new, right? There's no updates. There's no new content. Nobody's posted anything since the last time you've looked. You log out. Chances are that person is much less likely to log back in again, right? So it was incredibly important to Facebook that when you log into Facebook, there is something to see, there is something to do, there is something to reward you for your act of logging in. So they started with a very small population, so that way whatever's being talked about is going to be relevant to you, right? At least tangentially, right? If anybody's posting anything, it's about some campus event or some people that are at the campus or whatever, right? And then as they built up critical mass, they're like, okay, well, people at this college, now it's people at colleges. Well, colleges have a lot in common. You know, college students are talking about the same things. So they're slowly building up their audience and building up their audience, ensuring that when somebody comes in, there's always the experience that they want people to have. They're ready for them, which is important when this is user-driven content, right? You even though it's user-driven, you need to make sure that there is that content for the people when they get there. So if I'm putting together a fleet of 10, 15, 20 people on a Friday, Saturday night in order to go have some fun in Nullsec, if I jump in there and there's no vulnerable skyhooks, there's no ESSs worth a damn, you know, whatever, I'm not doing that anymore, right? I'm going to go do something else. If it's faction warfare or a different game, I don't know. But all I know is that that doesn't incentivize me to go and interact with this feature. Which, of course, means that the threat of people attacking it goes way down. The demand upon people to protect themselves goes way down. This basically becomes a way for nullsecers to fuck with other nullsecers that are nearby them. And that's almost exclusively it. There are roughly 4,000 reagent planets in the game. 40 skyhooks each hour in that window. Yes, Satonia, that is correct. How many nullsec systems are there in the game? EVE Online, how many sovereign nullsec systems are there? There are 3,321 solar systems in Nullsec. Now, admittedly, some of those are going to be NPC sov, but we're just going to go with it. So 3,321 divided, 40 divided by 3,331 means at any given time, 1% of systems have a skyhook that's ready to be attacked. 1%. So do yourself a favor. If you play Raid Shadow Legends, go and get a blue shard and open it up. And if you got a Lego, congratulations, you found a skyhook. That is nuts. That is nuts. That's not okay. Oh, sorry, 2,770 nullsec systems. $40 divided by that. So yeah, no, 1.4%. 1.5% chance of a system having a skyhook in it that is vulnerable at any given time. And that's the entire window. That's... Okay, hold on. You know what? Hold on a second. I just thought about something. Player, how do you get stuff out of a skyhook without raiding it? Hold on. How do you get stuff out of a skyhook? Can you get stuff out of a skyhook outside of raiding it? Like, what are the rules? Does anybody know? Can anybody link to me the rules for how skyhooks work under normal conditions? Because every time I look things up, it's only about how to rob it. I'm trying to find... You just right-click it, or then take from the structure. So you can take from it. So So yeah. So now people don't hold on. So the fear, the thing that he even notes in this post, other people will continue to self-raid the second the vulnerability window is out. Now people are just going to pull the material out before the window. Why wouldn't you have 3 days of warning? Why wouldn't somebody just go and take the stuff out just before the vulnerability window? Why would anything ever? Okay. I haven't gotten into the 2-bay thing. I haven't gotten into the 2-bay thing yet. But are you suggesting that you rob? Okay. Got it. So the rated side is only gotten through rating, and the other side is only gotten through ACL. And when it populates, we didn't go into this part yet. Let's actually go ahead and look at this part because it goes into what we're talking about. An important adjustment to orbital skyhooks coming with this update is the employment of dual storage system that splits resource outputs between secure bay and surplus bay. The secure bay will ensure that half of all product reagents, magmatic gases, superionic ice, are protected, available only to the owner in their approved access list or upon the destruction of the skyhook. This ensures a stable flow of resources for owners without overwhelming loss to raids. Meanwhile, but I thought that was the point of raids. Raids, what is the point of raids if you can't interrupt their infrastructure? Meanwhile, the surplus bay will hold the other half, which will be vulnerable during the raiding windows. Attackers can claim the entire contents of the surplus bay, which has a 100% drop rate during raids, offering significant rewards while maintaining the competitive drive in Nullsec. Okay, yeah, Satonia, that's actually a good point. And for full clarity and, fair and balanced TMCR, it is true that what this does is it makes it so that when you can't take it out except for through raid. So, okay. So over time, it generates a certain amount of resources. Half of the resources goes to the owners, right? It's in a secure bay. Nobody can take it without destroying the skyhook. The other half is only gotten through raiding, which means that every 3 days, it means two things. One, it means that if you do happen to raid a skyhook that is in its window, chances are you will make a lot of money. Somebody might be able to give me an idea of what 3 days worth of resources is worth. I don't actually know how fast they accrue, but it means that you will have, at minimum, 3 days worth of built up resources to pull. So if you won't find a vulnerable structure that doesn't have anything because once it's been raided, then it shuts off and goes back to the new cycle, right? So so the new world is for 3 days it builds up reagents, and then there's a 1 hour window in which anybody can get it, and then it locks down for another 3 days, right? So this means that if you go and find something and it is in its vulnerability window or about to go into its vulnerability window, then you know that it will have stuff in it. But it also means that the people who are interested in getting these resources, the owners of the resources, will be paying attention to the timers and out there getting their own stuff because they have to. Otherwise, it stays locked up in there for whenever. I don't know whether or not it continues, like if you can get multiple 6 days worth of stuff built up or whatever. But the idea is that, the people are actually going to be going out there and interacting with this stuff if they know it's good for them, which means theoretically you could catch people. It rolls over. Okay. Theoretically, you could catch people raiding it their own, But I still think that the chances are that this just means that stuff gets got right at the very beginning. And by the time you jump in, it's either nothing is vulnerable or it's already rated, right? Like now you have to not just catch somebody within the 1 hour window, you have to catch somebody within the 10-minute window because they are also encouraged to raid their own skyhook now. It used to be that they would only raid their own skyhook because it was the desperate maneuver to make sure that other people can't raid it. But now it's necessary. So now empires will actually build this into their plans where people go out and actually collect the stuff from the skyhooks. So no, the other 50% is accessible via ACL. So anybody who has access to it via the ACL can just go and claim that stuff, but they can't get the raided stuff without doing the raid themselves. I still think that this means that 90% of the time, 99.9% of the time, it's just bunk. Like you get out there and there's no good result whatsoever, right? You get out there probably isn't a skyhook. If there is a skyhook, it's probably already raided. If it isn't already raided, it's probably being guarded. And if it isn't already guarded, you're lucky. You lucked out. You won the lottery. Correct. So basically, every 3 days, you're going to have to go to your own skyhook and raid it to pull your stuff out. Half of the resources. The other half you can just pull out whenever. I'm sorry, Satonia. You know what, Satonia? I gotta say this. I appreciate you coming here and answering so many questions all the time. I really, 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 really do. You are not selling me on this. What does it mean by rolling over? In other words, so no. What he's saying, Jeff, is so let's say in 3 days it gets 10,000 units, right? 5,000 units goes into the secure, 5,000 goes into the raidable, right? Nobody raids it. Then in 3 more days, now it'll be 10,000 in the raidable and 10,000 in the ACL bay, unless somebody pulls something out of the ACL bay, right? So it's open for an hour and then it locks back up and then it continues to accumulate on the raidable side. So it's this growing pot. I think the timer should be invisible to everyone and have a 3-day buildup with a 1 hour vulnerability window timer. I think it should be a 6-hour vulnerability timer. None of this affects the fact that people can raid their own skyhooks. The idea that you would catch somebody raiding their own skyhooks and attack them is, I'm going to say, pretty silly, honestly, because it's the defenders. The defenders have every advantage. They don't have a Sinojammer, so they can just jump in their capitals in the event that they do get attacked. I think Noblex will burn themselves out if they want to raid hundreds of skyhooks a day. Yeah, you're right. No, but you don't have to, though, right? You just have to have one. You just have to have an umbrella, right? The thing is this, Sutonia. They don't have to go with a 200-man fleet. If raiding it is not a good strategy, then big fleets won't be doing it, which means operating in them is relatively safe. It's like, sure, it's really easy to take down Encelabix jump bridges, but if nobody's there to shoot somebody, nobody's there to shoot it, nobody punishes you for how vulnerable it is, then it's fine, right? Like, who cares? It's not more juice for raiders. It's just more juice for them because they are the ones that know when their stuff is. They're the ones with the ways to defend it. They're the ones with the people to interact with it. The people who are going to go do the raiding are staring at the face the chance of most of the time just not getting anything of interest whatsoever. And even then, even further encourages people to not fight the stuff. Yeah, you can see when their stuff comes out too, but if you're filamenting or wormholing in, you get to just see what happens to be there. Whereas the people that live there are always there. So whenever it comes out, it's okay for them. But for you, your dudes are only here right now. I might be able to keep them distracted for maybe an hour while we wait for things to come out. But like, I don't know, man. I'm not convinced that the activity is going to be promising enough for people to engage in it enough for it to for the attackers to properly fill out their side of the equation. And then it's just defenders going through their own stuff. And you know what? They're going to complain about how boring it is, and you fixed nothing. Now people are complaining because there's nothing to raid. People are complaining that they have to do this fucking maintenance, and nobody likes it. And the worst case scenario, the worst thing about this is, you know, they're getting this more material. Remember, this is just raw fucking ISK for these people, right? Whenever they're talking about Nullsec and how much, oh, these sites aren't paying out exactly the same amount as it was before or more, oh my God, this isogen there isn't more isogen here than there was not, you know, the Mexilon before, whatever, right? Like, this is just, they can think, yeah. They complain about the fact that, like, oh, the SOV changes have, like, reduced what... This is just raw fucking bonus money. This is technetium. This is passive moon mining all over again for free without any consideration. We've even made skyhooks cheaper for you. Even if they're rated every single fucking time, you still get 50% of it for yourself. And you don't have... Okay, here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing that actually makes me mad about this. I pay for a moon. I pay for an Athanor, for a moon in HiSec. I pay the fuel for that. It makes ore. That ore has to be mined. It's an activity, right? That activity can be disrupted. People can attack my miners. People can come and sea crystal my moons, right? The rocks. And that destroys all of the ore. Do I get the fuel back? No. Fuck no. I just get a loss on that situation. There is no loss here. None. Unless somebody blows up the skyhook, there is no loss to the owner. They just get their income and then another 50% income for whoever fucking feels like raiding it. Whereas in almost every other part of space, there's a cost to what you're doing. CCP Hilmar talked about wanting to introduce new forms of fuel. This thing doesn't take fuel. It is fuel. It's just pouring things out. It is used for fuel to keep SOV buildings running. They don't just get to print it into ISK. They can, though. Not only is it used to make the metanoxes run, which get turned into minerals, but you can, as we showed, it is also an NPC buy order. So you can always just sell it as a commodity. Now, you can sell it to other players for 5 times as much, but that doesn't make it not a commodity. It just makes it more money for you. Why would anyone blow up the skyhook when it's just raw profit unless you're doing Nullsec war? Yeah, I'm just saying, like, as an attacker. But even then, it has a reinforcement timer. Nowhere else in the game does owning space just continually suck out ISK out of your wallet above and beyond. You know what? Raykuma? Solid argument. Sovereignty does have a cost. This theoretically, you know, I'm saying like, oh yeah, it's money out of nowhere. Technically speaking, sovereignty also has a cost. But I think that sovereignty cost is already more than comparable. Skyhook is the easiest structure to reinforce in the game, though. Really? Not the Metanox? How long is the reinforcement timer? How long is the reinforcement timer on a skyhook? One day, yeah. So no one is raiding in and then just blowing it up, right? Once again, this is Nullsecers fucking with nullsecers. This is really good for like skirmish warfare, like border conflicts and stuff. Maybe. But the idea of people coming in and raiding it, absolutely gone, in my opinion. I don't know. We're going to have to see. We're going to have to see. I just... Yeah, randoms aren't going to get involved in this, and if there's nobody... Nullsec relies on players being a threat, which means players have to be willing to engage in it. And if people aren't able to or willing to engage with it, then it just becomes free money / bullshit for the people that have to live there. 1.9 skyhooks in the complete opposite time zone on average. Hold on. That assumes that timers are placed relatively randomly, right? That seems to ignore the fact that a lot of people do time zone tank, right? Now, admittedly, there is an incentive to not time zone tank because you'll need to raid your own thing, so you got to be there at the right time. But, like, yeah, so you jump into Delve. There's 1.5 skyhooks open and available to you. You know who else knows about those 1.5 skyhooks? Goons. Defenders have every fucking advantage. This scenario that you're going to get in there and happen to catch them while they're raiding their own skyhook is such a fucking pipe dream. I just, Yeah, but that means that goons have 2 points to defend at any given time. Doesn't that seem like a problem? And again, they are the defenders. They're already there. They have everything at their disposal. They've got ships to reship to. The people that are coming in have just teleported in or wormholed in. They're much further out of position. You can still roll nullsec static wormholes and find systems with timers. It already is kind of a challenge. If goons defend their space, isn't that fine? Gank them if they want to bring 80 people and blob you if they fought for it. It becomes not fine if the people planning to do the thing can assume that, right? Because this is not a time zone. Yeah, I mean, okay, so Tony, I'll give you that. This has some of the best resistances against time zone tanking in the game. Although I would suggest, well, no, we can't ever win a fight in Delve when there's only one fight to have. That's the point. It takes one person to self-raid. It takes one person in a fucking Tech 1 Upwell hauler, the Squall. It takes one person in a Squall to self-raid. But I do agree that it does resist against time zone tanking. I think that it would be a good idea to tie this to other timers, so that way it forces them to not time zone tank the other stuff. But that being said, yeah, all you need is one dedicated dude that lives in AUTZ, and who cares? So here's, I think, the question that I have. Given the fact that we still have time before this gets released, the point is that there's a lot of things going on here. all at the same time. And I wonder what, if anything, could be changed to make this better. The main problem with time zone tanking is when no one shows up and it's rather slumlord space who can only exist because Frat or Imperium will save them at a specific timer. I agree, Satonia. And that's why I'm saying, like, maybe they should make it so your entire alliance can only have one timer. So that way your skyhooks, if you want to be able to raid your own skyhooks, you got to also have systems vulnerable for attack. The fact that they can have all different timers ends up being, I think, a big problem. But more importantly, like, the problem here is just the idea that people aren't necessarily going to engage in the content. And therefore, it's just free material to the owners. Just make the timers random. That way there's always something open. I think that, especially if it's going to be a 3-day window, I think that it should be there's a 3-day like set. I think it should just be a 6-hour window. Honestly, like, let's be real. If you just change it to a 6-hour, I don't even know if that helps. I don't know if it helps. I don't know if it helps. Because the 6-hour window doesn't change the fact that people will rate it at the very beginning because they already have a 3-day window. If they have a 3-day... You set a timer and then there's a deviation. Hold on. I'll pull it up again. So, you set a timer. And that's like right here at exactly the middle. Within 68% of the time, it'll be... So if you set it at 2000, 68% of the time, it'll be from 1700 to 2300. With 95% of the time, it'll be between 1400 and 02. And if it's past 5 or 11, then it throws it out and rolls again. Hey, Stoic. If it takes 10 minutes to raid and the timer closes after the raid, then it's 10-minute window no matter how you slice it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't matter. What? It can roll past 5. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4? Oh, is it 8? Oh. Okay. Well, then, yeah. It's like 10 and 6, give or take. Is there a way to make it better? Probably, unfortunately. I'm in a Joker mood at the moment. I kind of just want to see the devs set all their hard work on fire. I think that... God, I don't know, man. That's actually a really good point. Like, how do we even fix this, right? Because, like, if it's a 6-hour window, who gives a shit? You rate it at the very beginning. You can't make them not be able to raid their own thing, because if they would just make an alt corp and raid their own thing with the alt corp. You can't make it so that it only pulls so much at one pull, because that just punishes the people that are raiding. It would be interesting if there was some sort of device that people could have that could disrupt timers, right? Like force something to come out of invuln. Superior, the idea there is that there's so many of these things that chances are they're not going to be raiding them all as soon as they're done. But again, they don't need to raid them all as soon as they're done. You're already talking about a very small population of possibilities. They should at the very least put the Sinojammer back. I'm trying to think. Yeah, this is actually a pretty tricky situation, isn't it? So I spend 1 hour rating the 6 stations I'm assigned to, possibly with alts, and a cap umbrella on standby. Yeah. And I think that's I think the real problem that I have with this isn't like, oh, I can't rate anything. It's just that the end result is people aren't attacking. Sinojammer was actually removed because of defender's advantage? What? Okay. Hold on. Let's validate some assumptions. Okay? Satonia, realistically, how many people are rating through normal methods of ingress and egress as opposed to wormholes or filaments that both limit capital projection, right? Like, how many people are rating within capital range? Who's lighting Sinos to raid? Thera wormholes, yeah. Nobody's bringing a fax through a Thera wormhole. This is what I think is the problem, because we're talking about like, oh, well, defenders could do this. The defenders are lighting Sinos? Really? Oh, yeah, defenders are lighting Sinos. Exactly, yeah. Like, the defenders could bring in something. Yeah, but the attackers could bring in something. Yeah, but the defenders are. By the same token, what stops F1 Blob Lord 5000 from sinoing in a Hadron? I mean, nothing, Satonia, except for it takes a little bit of time. A lot of people raid skyhooks and sino range. Okay, but that goes back to what I was saying, though, I guess, which is this suddenly becomes more of a fuck with your neighbors situation. Rather, Jesus. Thank you so much. What? Wow. Thank you so much. Stoic, you are awesome. Everybody hit like on that. Wow. All right. Yes, Lorelite, I appreciate it. Defenders 100% would have their cap umbrella hanging out while they're self-looting. Yeah. I'm rating in T1 cruisers and a few T3Ds. And that is the thing, is that, like, okay, so organized fleets are not likely to be, like, or big, powerful fleets aren't necessarily going to go just raid for funsies on a night anymore because it might not give good content, right? Maybe if you, like, have a bunch of stealth bombers that you're already going to be running around trying to kill fucking ratters or something like that, it could be a thing. But there's going to be a lot less people doing the actual raiding. That also means that there's going to be a lot less people attacking the people that are doing the raiding, or like self-raiding. But self-raiding is now required. So somehow you've managed to make it so that it is not as good of content for people that are wanting to attack Nullsec. And it is incredibly boring menial work on a daily basis. Your defense on multiple occasions here, Satonia, has been just the sheer number of skyhooks that will need to be maintained by Nullsec, which basically you're just saying that you're balancing it by busy work. And I don't think that's going to make anybody happy. I can't see how this makes anybody happy. Like, you don't self-raid because you lose 60% of your stuff. No. In the new change, it's 100%, and you only can get it by self-raiding. We're not talking about right now. We're talking about in the future. Although the fact that people self-raid, even though now it's only 60%, it's only going to get worse, right? It's a mini-game solution to a sandbox problem? Possibly. Yeah, if you're hunting missioners, yeah, okay. Bomber's Bar is fine. I could definitely see, like, Bomber's Bar or something like that going into Nullsec and like, oh, let's fuck with stuff. Oh, there happens to be a skyhook. But here, actually, you know what? That doesn't even work. That doesn't even work. Why? Because skyhooks require specialized equipment. You have to bring the stuff home. It takes storage. You have to bring a hauler with you. So you yeet out there, you happen to find the perfect skyhook, and now you don't even have a hauler with you. Ah. So, in the new situation, if only there was a covert ops hauler that can be black ops bridged. Yeah, but... But if you're filamenting in or using wormholes, you're not then blopsing something else in. Keep most of our gas or we leave null. Yeah, but like, so now you're going to have 50% of your gas 100% secure no matter what. Right? So don't worry about that. Deluges are great. You can just take a squalor deluge with you out. But yes, but my point though, Satonia, was that like, okay, well, if you're just going into Nullsec for a general fuck around thing, and there happens to be a skyhook there, then that's fine. But now you're asking for people to bring a specialty hauler just in case there is a skyhook there. Right? So again, like it's a situation where the attacker, like the chances of it being a rewarding or positive experience for the attacker is relatively low. And the chances that this just becomes giant bullshit headache for the people who own the space becomes high. And now, right now, their bullshit is the fact that people keep robbing them. When this happens, their bullshit is going to be the fact that they have to go touch every single skyhook every three days. You're not wrong, Satonia. And that could be just a whole thing, that you now just always bring one of them with you in all of your operations. But you understand how, like, you're continually being like, oh, well, the attacker will be all right because they could do this. Or, you know, we're concerned because the attacker could do that. When these are all advantages that the defender just gets to have for free. Let's take skyhooks off reinforcement timers instead, so it's a bash fest if you can get the loot every 3 days. I think it's weird that, like, maybe if the skyhook had a reinforcement timer like Metanox did, ES's fleets were already ringing the dinner bell with 100 MN stabber in them. That's the thing, is that the vast majority of people that are going to be raiding these skyhooks offensively now are not going to be doing it with, like, real fleets. That's what I was going to say, is that, like, I'm not going to put together a real fleet and then go try and do this because, like, the chances of it being real content is relatively low. So the chances of me doing this in, like, a bullshit stabber goes through the roof because I can't do it legitimately, so I'm just going to cheese dick it. You don't have to link with the hauler, though? Wait, what? What does that mean? Well, yeah, they can head... That's if they come and defend it. And even then, all you lost is a really fast stabber. I mean, that's how people are rating it now, right? I mean, if they want to bother headshotting the linker, they can. I don't know. I still don't see how this becomes a positive thing for anyone at all. Not only is this bad for the people doing raiding, but I see this as just being the biggest pile of busy bullshit work for the membership. It's like, oh yeah, it's going to be okay because it's a giant pain in the ass to maintain all of your skyhooks. Why does that make it okay? Do you think it'll currently go live in its currently announced state? I mean, I don't know. I will say that, like, as Satonia pointed out earlier, one thing to keep in mind, CSM season has begun. And one thing is very, 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 very clear. If it's bubbles in Zarzak or emanation locks or this bullshit, this is what happens when Nullsec gets their fanatical control over the CSM. You know, like, this really feels like feedback that has been created by a very insular group of people. And so bear in mind, whenever you're looking for who's going to be running for CSM, who you want to vote for CSM, this is the shit that matters, right? This is why we need Dutch Gunner on the CSM. Hasn't been very fun content either way. Most Skyhook fleets are just a small handful of cruisers that either get blapped or run away. Well, yeah. So let's take that little bit that was there, get rid of it, and replace it with busy work. Yay! I heard that Shines is actually against this move. I had not heard that. I saw Angry Mustache defending it pretty carefully. Yeah, yay, chores! I love chores! I'm at, like, oh, okay. Well, good. Yeah, speaking of Reddit, I gotta say, overall, HTFU except for Nullsec, make Skyhook production scale with the vulnerability window. Visualing. Wait, what is this? Oh. Huh. Shines is the type of person who wants conflict and fights, so would be safe to say he's against it. Why not make it so that you need to leave shit in the rateable hold to make it worth the squeeze? Why not have the thing automatically eject its contents at a certain period of time? So then whoever has control over the grid at that moment gets to have it. Why even have the raid part? Right? Why not have it be a get it or lose it? The busy work is already being done, Ash. Yeah. But that's all that's left. And now that's got it. But that now has to happen. The self-rating was happening as a defensive measure, and they were losing stuff. So they preferred to not do that extra work, but they were still willing to lose 40% of the material. Now they have to do it. Unless, I guess you're right, they can just give all the roamers the other half of the stuff. But do you sincerely see people actually engaged in this stuff? Yeah, just spit it out at a specific time. They're getting 40% and self-rating every day. That doesn't make me feel better about it. I ain't gonna lie. This one's great. Me trying to find out who asked for the Skyhook changes in Null versus Null stuff. I was happy enough to destroy hordes of frat mats, even if I couldn't get away with it. Right. And this is something that's good for, like, Null versus Null, for sure. It gives them something to fuck with each other about. It gives them something to dink around with. It gives them something to, you know, not interrupt their non-invasion pact, and so they can all turtle up and have their fucking blue donut while at the same time still having pretend skirmishes over half of the reagents that they're getting for free. It gives null people something to do during down hours, I guess. I guess. The one thing I think is actually kind of interesting about this is that I wonder how many... So the one thing I do see out of this is that null blocks are going to claim their 50%, and then line members will be free to raid the skyhooks when they want to, right? And then there'll be like buy orders or turn-ins or whatever. So the people who go and raid their own stuff, like I'm not going to raid there's a skyhook in my system. I know when it comes out, so I'm just going to grab the stuff because now that's my money as a member of my alliance or whatever, right? And then the alliance itself gets their half. That is the one like positive spin out of all of this that I think might happen, that like this is a way of taking some of what would be an alliance level, top level income and kind of giving it to the little guys, because once they have it, it's kind of unaccounted for until they turn it in, you know? So there are some positive things about this. I do like the idea that at the end of the 3-day window, like if something is raidable, it will have something in it, and it will have a lot of something in it. That is kind of cool. Everything about this, everything else about this hurts. Brave is not selling it at all. Fair enough. Well, I wonder how much of that is because of the fact that but I wonder how much of that high demand will be fulfilled by just the 50% that the alliance gets, no matter what, like from the ACL. You know what I mean? And like chances are people will be able to sell their stuff to the alliance. But I'm just saying, like, there's a good chance that this opens up an opportunity for bottom level income, right? Line member. This is, or to put it this way, there's a lot of work that got added into Nullsec. Like they added in a bunch of hauling bullshit as part of Equinox as a way of making Nullsec more alive. But one of the problems is that there was nothing really to tie that to like a reward. And so now this actually creates this like really nice reward system where the dudes that actually go out and do the work of pulling the stuff could theoretically get rewarded for it. And if you're a Brave line member and you're sick of the alliance taxing the skyhook rating, maybe it encourages someone to leave and make their own alliance to where they get the cake. If we make Nullsec bad enough, then it'll break up the blocks. I agree. So yeah, I mean, does every feature that Nullsec have exclusively require it to be something that people outside of Nullsec can fuck with? No. But this really does feel sticks don't work in breaking up blocks, carrots do. So Tony, to be fair, we clearly don't know what works in breaking up blocks. I'm worried about line members self-rating and not giving back to the full rewards of the raid being an excommunication level events. Hey, man, you know what, though, Superior? That's Eve. That's all social stuff. That's all emergent gameplay. That is between people dealing with people. And that is actually good. And I'll defend that. Making your own PvP paramilitary group and taking over a small constellation next to NPC space, etc. is how you get there. Yeah, it's true. And also, like, it is true that it, like, you could actually set yourself up in NPC space nearby somebody nice and keep a track of their skyhooks and then just raid them continuously, like every 3 days or whatever. But the point, okay, you know what? I'm just going to give you the use case that I care about, or that I'm concerned about, I should say. My heart goes out for the wormholers. Okay? Here's the thing. The Metanox was a gift. All right? Wormholers have moons that they can mine, but all moons in wormholes are R4 moons, which are normally like the shittiest moons, right? But R4 is used in battleship and capital production and faction ship production. You make the reinforced carbon fibers and all that sort of stuff for it, right? But the problem is that wormholes are hard to control, right? For long periods of time. Wormholes randomly open, you know, whatever. So mining the moons in Nullsec or in wormhole space, it's hard to make it worth it. It's almost always better to like mine the belts or whatever. The metanoxes were a dream where you can just put a metanox on your moon and get the R4 for it and then react. And you don't have to worry about mining. You just have to worry about defending the metanox, which is a totally different equation. And wormholers can do that. So now I have a metanox in my wormhole that drills my moons for me. Perfect. But I need magmatic gas to run my sky or my metanox. So what I do is I raid out into Nullsec via wormholes in order to capture magmatic gas to bring home to power my metanoxes. This feels really fucking cool to me. Okay? This is perfect. This is the coolest fucking idea of like, I have this thing, I need this resource that I don't have myself, so I have to go out and rob it from other people to bring it back to my place to keep it going. I've been talking to my wormhole friends that were really excited about Skyhook raiding and has been doing Skyhook raiding, and they are crushed by this. Now, they can roll their wormhole or everything like that, and there is theoretically ways that like it could be okay, but wormholers more than anybody is like that idea of like, everybody's here, we want to do something, and well, shit, there's nothing to do. Well, that sucks. I think that if anybody needs to be kept an eye on, I don't give a shit about anybody who's filamenting out of Jita to go into Nullsec to raid this stuff. Like, that's fun, it's cool and all, it's probably something I would do, but that isn't the people who are important in this situation. Who's important in this situation are things like wormholers and low-seckers that need this stuff to make their own stuff run when that stuff is intentionally put in Nullsec to be raided. So one of the things I was thinking about is like either increase the number of wormholes, or there should be something that allows people to be more successful when it comes to them being able to raid out and into these skyhooks. And I don't know what it's going to take, and I just get the feeling like this is going to provide a more harrowing solution for the people that need to raid it, like wormholers, to the point where they're going to give up on it completely, and it's only going to just become boring and tedious to nullseckers. And you know what? The nullseckers are already pissed off, so I don't think that this helps CCP in any way. So last time CCP increased the number of wormholes, wormholers cried about it. Wormholes to Nullsec. But yeah, if it was intended to be raided, then why is it so hard to actually capitalize on raiding? Well, I mean, as we were looking at it, it's kind of a cursed situation, right? Because it's like, well, how do you make the raiding both valuable and also unlimited? As long as the UI for the list of skyhooks is good. Yeah, I mean, it'll be on the agency. That should be fine. So, yeah. And then finally, I do want to point out, just for full disclosure, yesterday, I think it was, on my community page, I put up a poll. And it looks like just about half of people either think that the skyhooks are great, this skyhook change is great, or are fine, with a little bit over half being negative about it. So it's about 50-50 with 93 votes. So while it is true that there's a lot of us being very vocal about the problem. When we actually put it to a vote, it's 50-50. So maybe it's going to be fine. And I think that there has been a lot of discussion today, and I really, really appreciate Sitonia coming here and contributing input to all of this, and everybody for contributing to this discussion, because I'm very sympathetic to the situation, right? It's a challenging thing, and it, as I've said before, CCP is trying to do stuff that nobody else has ever accomplished in all of video gaming. So, and this is a lot about human psychology, sociology, etc. So this is stuff we can't pretend like there's a correct choice that CCP has failed to get to. There may be no correct answer, and there's just a good enough solution. There also, we got to remember that there's other stuff involved in this, like whatever's coming in the winter. We're less than 2 months away from the winter expansion. So hopefully this is carving a hole open for the winter expansion to really slot into. So it's something to be kept an eye on. Please let me know in the comments down below if you're going to be for old wild. Pandemic, that's actually, I disagree. There's a reason why EVE has survived the way that it has. Balancing this sort of stuff is incredibly difficult because it's not like a theme park. You can't just build the encounter. You're building stuff that's designed to influence human behavior when humans are on both sides of the equation, right? It's loose, it's out of control, and people are competing over this stuff. So the pressure is on. So no, I think that this is probably one of the toughest challenges in video game design by far. Not this particular, but I mean PvP scenarios, especially this idea of how do you create PvP scenarios in an open world problem. I have been in many game design discussions, from everything from RTSs to whatever to how do you do this kind of stuff. So Equinox, it's fully, yeah, you're right. I mean, there has been a lot of really rapid changes due to CSM, and I think that a lot of that has been almost too rapid, and maybe they've listened to the CSM too much, but that's just my opinion, man. So let me know down below. Am I wrong about any of this? What do you think could fix it? What are you hoping that the winter expansion will bring to tie into all of this? Help me feel better about this, man, because I've been feeling kind of icky about this for the last couple of days, or for the next day or two. The funny thing is we had an ex-WoW dev who made one of the open world PvP things and then was dismayed when Horde and the Alliance could collude. So Horde had it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Alliance would have it the rest of the week. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's exactly. That's the thing is that you can create your set of rules, but players are going to work within the rules, and players are going to optimize the fun out of their game, right? Especially if it's competitive. You know, people need to have this stuff because we're in a competitive game. So it's not like people are going to do it the more fun way. They're going to do it the more effective way. So it's really important to make sure that you kind of trick people into doing what you want them to do anyways. And that is a tricky thing. And so we're going to just have to continue to monitor this and see what happens. But I think that's about all I've got for today. So we'll be keeping an eye on this. We'll be getting into the Crimson Harvest and whatnot. Badgerman, I don't know if I appreciate using that word in that sort of way. But yeah, I should be back tomorrow. Hopefully we'll be running around and doing some stuff. I need some ideas as to what to do. And then next week we're going to get started with the Crimson Harvest. And then, you know, on through. There's the tournament coming up soon, etc., etc. Anything else that's important? I appreciate your takes here, Ash and Sitonia. It's hard to have a balanced and fair discussion on Reddit. I think that today's been a great discussion. Hey, thanks, Pandemic. Go raid Skyhooks while you still can. Absolutely. And again, I really, really, really appreciate you coming here, Satonia, and chatting. I think that you gave some really good insight. I hope you don't think I got too hard on it. But I think that this is a challenging thing, and I think that it's worth ripping apart and figuring out what's good and what's bad and what works and what doesn't. WoW is actually a good example of why minigame design it cannot solve PvP problems. People always game the system, win trading AFKs, battlegrounds, etc., etc. Yeah. Sorry, but what I'm saying is that we need null blocks to fight and not Diplo. Diplo is part of fighting. But yeah, I agree. Here's the thing. Back in the day, null blocks were fueled by grudges. And I think that a lot of that has just been lost. A lot of this can be blamed on the Nullsec people. Like, back in the day when there were really good wars, it happened because people gave a shit about their territory, right? Like, people would name their alliance off of the area. You know, Stain Alliance was called Stain Alliance because they lived in Stain. So they would fight for their lives to protect that system. I think that we need more systems that make, or more game mechanics that make systems worth defending, not just worth having, right? And more importantly, worth taking, right? I think that, like, for instance, the idea of like built up, one of the things I really like is the idea that you could theoretically like blockade all the structures and then force them to go abandon and then loot them all. Like, that's a cool idea. I want the longer that someone is in an area of space, the more valuable that space is to them, the more they are, that space is special versus other space, and the more it is valuable for someone else to go and destroy that space. It needs to build up wealth and power over time. But either way, that's my thoughts. Interested in yours. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to Stoic and Pandemic and Bash for your guys' wonderful support. Thank you again to Satonia for participating. All of the rest of you guys for participating. Isn't that what the current SOT system is? Only so much. Like, it starts getting there. Like, that's what strategic index was, but now strategic index isn't a thing anymore. So, the best day in Nullsec life was the Min Mill versus a Mar Mill all joined hands last Thursday to fight off the null blocks that were trying to kill one of the local trade Fortizars. Yeah, that is some emergent gameplay Eve stuff. That's good stuff right there. But I've been Ashrothi. I've been playing this game since 2010, talking about it since 2012. And I'm here to put Eve into context for you, my fellow Empyreans. Thank you guys so much for showing up. Thank you for coming. Share this with other people. Share the rest of my videos. Go check out my tutorial videos, my lore videos, etc., etc. I've got over 700 videos. You can go ahead and check out. There are links down below for those cool winter gloves that you guys can check out. I don't get anything for them, but, you know, they were nice enough to send this to me, so I'm nice enough to send you to them. So go check it out. Otherwise, I've been Ashrothi, the voice of New Eden. Until next time, I'll see you in space. Bye, merch. Oh, and hold on. No, my puppy's asleep. I'm just gonna let her sleep on my nap. I'm sorry. Hopefully, see you tomorrow. If not, next week. Bye.
Bring on the wrecking machine.
Like the stream for the guineas.
voices.